Cool, recording.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
We're actually back now.
In the car, this time no wind, no tripods to be blown over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Iterative process. That's what it is.
Yeah, episode 2. I think we decided a name after work because it's literally after work for us. And yeah, just gonna talk about whatever. I thought we'd share something carry on from the previous episode was I said Kensy was a retired athlete.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us like some stories from your touring days when you were playing basketball?
Touring days. Let's see if there's anything interesting.
So let me just give some context while Kensy thinks. So we both went to Stellenbosch University, and during like the June, July, like the winter break, there's like a major like university competition called USSA. And yeah, and then a lot of sports happen. So when Kensy would go play basketball against other universities, and I would do more gymnastics against other universities. Yeah, so it's like a sport event time of the year. So do you have any like stories that happened during your USA years?
For me, it was just, there was actually. I'll withhold some names here.
But yeah,
Nothing super crazy happened, but there was a time where, it was the last day of. Was it the last day? It was the second to last day of we call it USA, and someone in my team went on a date with this one lady, and he came back and he was sick, and then the whole team got sick for the last day of USA, and we were like dying sick, like super like I ended up being like well, at least like we didn't have anything super major. We were playing for 5th place, which was still good, top 5 in the country. But man, I remember I was just, so it actually ties into another area of my life. I got super sick and had my driver's license test like 2 days later. And I was like shivering. I could barely be touched by anything, like even like shower water and all of that stuff. I couldn't even eat. So I remember like the morning of my driving exam, I rolled in the hill like during like the that run you have with your instructor in the beginning, like before like you actually go for the test. I rolled like 6 times in a row. Like I just couldn't get it together. I was in terrible shape, and I could see the guy starting to stress. So I went through the whole test. The yard was perfectly fine, and then when we got to the hill stop, I remember thinking to myself, okay, I'm cashing out now mentally because this is where it ends for me. And then the car just went forward. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't believe what's happening right now. This car's actually moving forward. And I could see my instructor sitting on the pavement, and he was just like, he was so stressed. And we got through it perfectly fine in Stellenbosch. So
yeah, you did yours in Stellenbosch.
I did mine in Stellenbosch.
Yo, that's a tough area to do a driver's test.
It was whack, dude. You know how people are with the pedestrian crossings?
Yeah.
There was this, I ran this one pedestrian crossing, and the guy, I remember the instructor is actually a very cool guy. His name was Wes.
Yeah.
And I thought that he wouldn't notice. Like, this guy just showed up out of nowhere. And I just couldn't stop. I was already in a circle, and I was going too fast at the time. And he asked me, like, do you know you're supposed to stop for that guy? And I was thinking to myself, oh my word, he's going to tell me to turn around and let's drive back to the place you failed. And he didn't. That guy was, he was a saving grace. So that was probably one of the parts that like were just really whack. That really sucked when everyone got sick. But I think, nothing actually crazy happened to me during tours, either after tour or before. Like I told you about how the very day before we left in 2018, I was at Ekestad and I chained my bicycle. It's over 30 meters away from me. I had a waffle with some teammates, and then we were about to leave. And then they reminded me that I need to go fetch my bicycle. And I looked around, I was like, I didn't bring my bicycle. And they were like, no, you did. And I looked and I saw my black chain on the ground, and I was like, holy smokes, someone stole my bicycle.
Did you at least take your black chain home as consolation?
I left the chain there. I didn't touch it. I left the chain for about like half a year or a year, and it was still there on the ground. I just didn't want anything to do with that chain anymore. And like there was like a legend where it said something about like you'll at least have one bike stolen in Stellenbosch as a student. I actually heard it from Nsika as well. He told me you at least have one, and I was like, what is this guy talking about? And then
no, you left to do Stellenbosch. You lost your bike.
You'll definitely, and it happens in the craziest ways. Like so I've had 2 bikes stolen in Stellenbosch, by the way.
Oh, so you bought 2 bikes and lost 2 bikes.
So I bought 3 bikes. The one I gave away,
Okay.
Eventually, because I was moving out and I was going to Belgium and all this, it was like, it's fine. The first one I bought got stolen. Second one I gave away. I bought it from Oscar, actually.
Oh, okay.
Oscar's first bike, I think, got
Oh,
stolen.
so that bike. That's good.
So I think it was like a blue one. Oscar had like a bluish
Yeah.
bike. But before that, he had a bike that got stolen by Narja.
Oh.
And he was also distraught when his bike got stolen.
Yeah.
And then my third one got stolen at like one of the residences.
So all the stolen bikes was literally on university campus.
So it's terrible. It really is terrible. My teammate left his bike at Ekestad for the night. He was, I mean, he was a first year and he didn't know that it was dangerous, and he came back and it was the tire that was left.
Yeah.
But that's standard. Actually do have a crazy story.
Yeah.
So, but this is more about bikes though.
Go for it.
So I was in theory of interest class, which is like this class in the BCom faculty that just seems to just destroy people for whatever reason. It's probably, I think, that one of, if not the most failed module in the entire economics faculty. So there I am sitting, and then our lecturer is busy teaching us whatever, and it's just like, it's a theory of interest class. So like we're listening and we're trying our best to understand what's going on. Then this guy in class jumps up and he like jumps over the tables during the class. Jumps over the tables and he runs for his life. So now everything stops. Even the lecturer stops because everyone's like wondering, like, should we also be running? Like, what's going on? And we look outside and there was a guy that was stealing a bike with these huge bolt cutters, and he's like cutting like this plastic lock, and like these like plastic shards like shooting up in the sky every time he's chopping. And the guy goes and like shouts at him, and then like they exchange words. Yeah. And the guy doesn't even run away. He just exchanges a few words and he just walks off as if nothing happened. So the guy brought the bike back in. It wasn't even his bike. He just brought it back in, and then everyone was like, yeah! They cheered, and that was probably one of the most interesting things that have happened regarding a bike.
Can I also share a bike story? So it's not my bike because I never owned a bike in Stellenbosch.
Didn't you?
No, I never did bikes. But so it was so a friend also involves like 3 friends. So the one friend, she literally like chained up her bike on campus, and holiday time came and she left.
Oh man!
And so she's like, "Oh crap! I'm gonna lose my bike if I don't get it back." So she asked my other friend to go and unchain the bike for her and take the bike and put it somewhere safe. But the key she gave my other friend didn't work. Was the incorrect key? Was the wrong key? So my friend was there literally like trying to get through the thing. I was like, "Okay, this doesn't work." So my friend was just like trying to just wiggle. He was literally trying to just break the chain like whatever ways he can. Okay, I also want to preface this. My friend is a white male in Stellenbosch. So when you're white in Stellenbosch, you kind of have like people don't suspect you too much.
Definitely if you're wrestling a chain.
Yeah, well. And a bike. And by the way, this was done at like 10 p.m. at night. So it was very dodge. And then the university security literally pulls up next to him and asks him, what is he doing? My friend was just like honest, like, hey, yeah, this is a friend's. I'm just trying to get the bike loose, and she's asked me to keep it safe. Just my friend was just being honest with the security. The security guy's like, oh, okay, cool. And then just drives away. Then my friend just, continued trying, and he was about to call it, so he was about phone. The same security pulled up again. It's like, hey, here's a bolt cutter.
Oh,
so the security brought my friend a bolt cutter, and literally even cut the chain for my friend. And my friend took that bike home that night.
He literally could have that could have been like one of the most profitable business models.
Yeah.
On campus, is just go around.
Yeah. Being a white male, it just just saying it's your friends, and the security
comes and brings. Yeah. I can't believe that actually happened.
Yeah, and my friend was like, this cannot be happening. Because my friend was thinking, is this guy going to question me more? It's like, he's going to want to talk to my friend. Like, that was literally just like, okay, disappears, comes back, brings bolt cutters, cuts it for him, and says, have a good night. And he walked off.
Snap, that is lucky.
Yeah, so lucky.
So in contrast, I have a friend, you know him. He was in the same section as us in first year.
Okay, yeah.
He's a rapper, so I'm sure I think you now know who it is. So he used to take these really late night, and like when I say long walks, like I think he used to walk like 5Ks, but like he would do it at like 1 a.m, like just to think. So he'd walk like, and we never understood like how he just didn't perceive the danger of walking 5Ks at like 1 a.m. in Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
just alone. So he said that he did it so often now that the campus security, just him walking, used to stop him and ask him like, hey, like, are you student here, whatever, can you please show us your student card, whatever. So he got really good at the whole gig, whereby before the security even said anything, he just whip out the card and he just hold it out and you walk past him and then you just put it right back again and no one would bother him. The complete contrast, a guy that did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong.
But that's racial profiling.
That is what it is.
It's racial,
101.
yeah, racial profile. So if you ever come to Stellenbosch and you're a person of color, it's gonna be a good time at Stellenbosch.
If a friend leaves a bike somewhere, whatever the case may be, sure, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck fighting a bicycle.
But I mean, from two people of color telling you about Stellenbosch, we had a good time there.
I had a pretty good time. I made some excellent friends.
Yeah.
Some very, very interesting moments, especially as you enter senior res.
Were you in senior res?
So I ended up going to senior res, the village.
Oh, you went to the village.
But it was like after, like it wasn't still like a triple L thing anymore. It was, I think triple L only doubled with the houses, and then it became like a proper actual like res situation.
Okay,
That was interesting. That was very interesting. Some people, wow. No, that was very interesting.
Can you elaborate on why it's interesting?
You know, in my last year, we had this hectic situation where we were supposed to show up to seniors. Kind of end up being on their own vibe. You know, they kind of do their own thing, and they don't show up at house meeting things anymore. And these things don't really bother. Like they're not that interested. So we were supposed to vote for the prim and like the house committee and everything, right?
Yeah.
I think it was only like, was it like 11 or like 13 people showed up? So like 11 or 13 people showed up to vote for the house committee. So our head of house at the time was fuming. He was really, really, really upset about this whole situation that happened.
Yeah.
So he was like, fine, no, I'm not going to wait for anyone. We're going to vote for everyone right here and right now. So I don't know if was I there?
Were you there?
I think I actually had to go to practice, or there's somewhere that I had to be. But it's either I was there, I think I was there. So people end up voting. It just so happens that the people that showed up were the worst of the worst possible candidates. I can't stress it enough. You could not have you could have pulled anyone, any Tom, Dick, and Harry out of anywhere, out of the ocean, and they would have, oh my word, it was terrible. So they ended up voting in this whole house committee, and the village ends up being in shambles that year, right?
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Full on shambles. They have, we end up having to ask for a revote because the people aren't happy with the house committee that's there, because they're throwing parties and they're going into people's, because like each house is different. Like
each house has its
you have like your own access, and they have access to everyone's houses. So they're going into other people's houses, and they hang out with people there, and you're not really supposed to be in other people's houses unless you're invited in.
Yeah.
So it got very complicated because of the whole parties thing and like just generally being incredibly irresponsible. So eventually people were like, no, we can't take this anymore. Can we just have a house meeting, because we are very unhappy with these guys? So the head of house comes and he's like, he gets all the complaints and everything, and he agrees that they're actually not the best. They're not doing a good job. He's actually not happy with what they're producing.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm not going to have a revote because you guys are supposed to show up and you didn't. So he's saying, but please, because what they're doing is actually ripping this whole thing apart. And he's like, no, I'm not interested. What? You guys have to deal with this. These are the people that were voted in and all of that. So we end up asking the people in leadership to abdicate. Like, can you step down? Because the people, so they didn't. Because we were like, we obviously don't want to be led by you. We don't believe in you guys.
Yeah.
Can you just rather step down? We can start the whole process again. And they were just weren't interested in that.
Yeah.
And so I remember, I think it was something about, they would just throw parties, crazy parties at crazy hours in the morning. Like, I think there was a party, if I'm not mistaken, that was thrown at like, I think the party was still going on close to 2:30 in the morning.
Damn.
But like it wasn't just like a gathering of people. It was like actually like a party.
Didn't like the the neighbors complain?
So people complain in the group chat and everything, and they would just, the crazy thing, like every time we complained, they would just go quiet in the group chat and act as if nothing happened. And then eventually there was an incident that happened with a fire extinguisher with one of the leaders, and like some ladies got like half their bodies got like blown with these fire extinguishers, and they ended up getting very unhappy about it. And then campus security showed up to try and remove one of the leaders or one of the guys from the houses. I don't even think he stayed in that house. He refused. Then the police showed up, and it really got out of hand. Like, it was the worst of the worst.
Wow, they escalated it.
It was really bad. It was really, really, really bad. I've never ever seen a house in greater disarray in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
So no, that was interesting. But it was our fault.
Yeah.
It was our fault, and he never changed the leadership. We stuck with it. He as far as I remember, he never changed it.
Yeah, go vote.
So,
yeah.
So that's actually, yes, that's if anything, please, wherever you are, vote for your leaders in your races, vote for the leaders in the country. I'm obviously not gonna point anyone in any particular direction or some propaganda or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of importance in voting.
But you can make a difference.
You really, really can. If we had like 30% of the house, I think he would have been happy.
Yeah.
And we probably wouldn't have voted in some guys, because I didn't really know those guys and like I knew them, but I didn't know that they would be like really bad.
Yeah.
Maybe someone with like a bit more wisdom would have been like, you definitely can't be a hawker. You 100% can't be a hawker.
Yeah.
So, but we actually, other than that, we had it pretty smooth in Meta actually.
Yeah, I'm glad,
So we didn't have any sort of chaotic situation like that, not with a leader.
Yeah, I think our year was actually pretty chill, my year. Well, I'm going to end it off there with this episode. Go vote. Cheers.